Okay, so yeah, this is something that my patients struggle with. And so I'm going to bring it to y'all and we can talk about this. So a lot of times my patients, they come in and they tell me, right, that, you know, we as professionals, we don't care nothing about making money, which they don't know we don't make the money we should make. So that's what they say. We just there because we care, really, because the money ain't there. So only the people at the top get all the money. The money don't trickle down. So just know that. But not like it should. Let me say that. Right. But they say like, why do we want them to be on these prescribed medications? But we talk about, the street drugs, but we want them on like medications. We'll say, well, they got anxiety. Instead of them smoking a little weed, we'll put them on some anxiety pills. Or they got depression. Instead of them, smoking a little drink, we put them on some pills. And that's a perfect argument. That's a good argument, right? I think that they put them on the pills in order to be regulated. Should you stay on the pills for the rest of your life? I don't know if you should or not. I mean, I think that's something that you should consult with your doctor about. But I do get that. We say these are bad, and then we say, well, take these here, right? And then I get to hear them complaining when something happens with their insurance or something happens here and they can't get their medications, right? Now it's a whole freaking problem. Now, what do you think they're going to do? So it's just a crazy situation all around. I would say the best thing about having it prescribed by somebody that's supposed, a prescribed profession or something like that is that it's more regulated and you know what you're getting. A lot of times patients come in, they don't even know what's in their system. A lot of times they have a lot of fentanyl in their system and they ain't took fentanyl, ain't bought fentanyl, nothing, but there's nothing out there but fentanyl. So you just got to be careful with that. And that's the thing, right? It's like, I guess, weighing both two evils, right? I would say don't do the street thing just because you don't know what it is you're getting. I do accept that there's a lot of things going on with the prescribed medications as well, with the side effects and all that. And, just do what you got to do until the doctor and you feel like you're ready to move forward. When I first got clean, they had me on the depression pills. I had trazodone, all that shit too. You know what I mean? I think after a while, when you start to develop some tools that you could pull from, when you start to feel those things, or sometimes just being able to sit through it. Like a lot of times I could just sit through the anxiety or sit through the depression or sit through the whatever, or turn on some, use some of my skills. But until you get that clearance, just do what you got to do and you'll get there. But you just got to stay focused, right? And one day you don't got to take nothing, right? Depending on your mental health concerns. But a lot of times addiction mimics mental health. So once you get clean off the drugs and get your system cleaned out about, a good a year to 5 years just to get your stuff going back right. A lot of things will start to clear up on its own. So a lot of times addiction mimics other mental health issues. You clean addiction up, a lot of other things may clear up. Okay? But take your meds until you get the clearance not to. And I would say, I get it. But at least one is regulated and one is not. Right? We'll talk about that. And then we can talk about marijuana too, because with the changes with that, it's kind of hard. I know when I was working with the youth, a lot of them tested positive for marijuana, a lot. And getting them to stop smoking their marijuana was like me trying to beat a dead horse. It was like me trying to beat a dead horse. And then it got to the point where they were not even enforcing that as a real issue. So it's being legal in everywhere now. So how do we navigate that in? Because just like alcohol, although it's legal, you can't go to your job drunk. You know, they still going to give you a test. And if you test positive for alcohol, you may have to do alcohol classes or something like that if it's found out that you have a problem with alcohol. So it's just crazy, y'all. But we'll talk about that marijuana thing too, because they be like, well, it's from the earth and it's, you know, all this other crap. But we'll talk about that too. Yeah. But yeah, this is how this shit go, y'all. This is what you got to do until you can do what you want to do. Take the meds anyway. Don't get in off the street. At least you know it's regulated if you get it from a doctor or something like that, or at least it should be. Right. You get off the street, you might get some fentanyl. One little hit, you're done. That ain't even what you bought. You didn't even want fentanyl. You bought something else and fentanyl in it. Fentanyl even in the marijuana. They got fentanyl in every damn thing, so be careful. Y'all. Okay? All right. I'll be back in a minute. Bye.